According to the World Economic Forum, the most talked about people at this year's meeting were Greta Thunberg and Donald Trump.
How old is she?
17.
Oh,
Yes.
that's good.
But what is your response to her?
She beat me out on Time magazine.
Trump and Thunberg, polar opposites in a new wave of discourse that seems to have come into its own here this week about climate change, about the environment, even about the old ways of capitalist thinking that have always seemed so at home here in Davos.
We must remember that as long as we do not treat this crisis as a crisis, and as long as the facts and the science are being left completely ignored, then we will not be able to solve this crisis.
World leaders and CEOs, many of them, are responding, with one in particular, the billionaire founder of cloud computing giant SALESFORCE, MARC BENIOFF, declaring capitalism dead.
This obsession that we have with maximizing profits for shareholders alone has led to incredible inequality and a planetary emergency.
But among the banking giants, some like Citibank and Goldman Sachs pushed back against calls by climate activists to stop funding the biggest polluters. That after Greenpeace called out a number of banks represented at Davos for having lent $1.4 trillion to fossil fuel producers since the Paris Climate Accord was signed in 2015. So how much of it is hypocrisy, a green cloak of virtue behind which old-fashioned deals are still being done?
On climate, there are meaningful moves by some private sector leaders that will actually make a difference, not only in terms of what they do, but will actually force others, competitors in their sectors, to not be left behind. So yes, I find that meaningful. But if you ask me, is the deal-making changing? Is capitalism dead? Frankly, in a world where the economy is getting a little softer, they're focusing more on their bottom lines.
This year's Davos has witnessed a confrontation between the decision makers and the young who will have to live with those decisions. They may not be winning yet, but their impact is growing. Jonah, Al Jazeera in the Swiss Alps.